Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford, so grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Hi, this is Just Minding My Business Radio, where we bring to you interviews with people whose views and news you can use. I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins, and our host...
Ida Crawford. And I'm Ida Crawford, your host.
Hi, Ida.
Hey.
Thank you so much for listening, to our listening audience for joining us today. Happy to have you with us, and hoping your day so far has been filled with things that have made you feel really, really good. Please do have a notebook or pen and paper handy to jot down points of interest. Coming to the mic, we have Jeff Young, writer, poet, motivational speaker, who engages audiences from youth through adulthood. The messages in his poetry come from the stories of his life. He says that when he creates his work, he has two things in mind. One, that he wants people to enjoy his art as much as he has enjoyed creating it. And two, he wants his listeners to take away at least one line from his work that they can live by. Jeff's work includes providing poetry for nationally recognized artists, and he has worked with Emmy Award-winning producers to bring his poetry to life. So, Jeff, hi there. Welcome to Just Minding My Business. We're really eager to hear about what you do and how it impacts lives.
Yes, I am thankful for you, of you all to have me on. So my name is Jeff Young. My stage name is Backpack Jeff, and it's a very interesting reason for that. One of the reasons for the stage name of Backpack Jeff is because I want, when I speak, people to take away something that they can put in their backpack and that you can, kind of use in your life on a regular basis. So I am a spoken word artist / poet and motivational speaker. And what I do is I use my poetry in a creative in a creative way as an expressive art form to capture the minds of the audiences. One thing that I've learned a lot from working with youth is that you connect with them through passion. You can connect with them through artwork. And so what I do before I even start a speech, immediately I go right into one of my poems, because I know and I've learned, and study and research has kind of showed that you only have about 7 seconds to grab a young person's mind. And today, just with the advancement of technology, and you have to grab their mind immediately. And so what my poetry does is it grabs their mind and their attention immediately. And then from there, once I'm able to grab their attention, I'm able to put in different types of messages that they can take home with them throughout my poetry, throughout my speech, and then also in the middle doing another poem, as well as closing out with a poem. So I use a lot of my life stories to tell, different ways of overcoming, getting through adversity, overcoming trials and tribulations, dealing with different, forms of, mental health issues and different things like that.
Well, Jeff, you brought up some really interesting points there, dealing with young people. And you said that you have to grab their attention within the first 7 minutes, 7 seconds, actually.
Right.
So how do you do that? What is it that you're saying to them that they will relate to?
So one of the things that I believe with the youth is that when you can put something together in a rhythmic form that they understand, that kind of adheres to the hip-hop music that they listen to, or the rap music that they listen to, I believe they grab onto it because it's something that piques their interest. And so immediately when I start, I go into a poem called Young Lungs Motivation. And it starts off just by saying, this is Young Lungs Motivation, where we breathe life into the goals and dreams of our youth. The world has lied to the kids long enough. It's time someone told them the truth about how to achieve success and how it's only measured in the number of people you bless. So when you leave this world, your legacy will be respected, because no one's going to remember the money you made, only the lives that you affected. because it's legacy over liability, and there's only two things that'll get you there, and that's patience and persistency. And by this time of the poem, I really have their attention because they're paying attention to the wordplay, they're paying attention to the flow, it's making sense to them, and then from there, they tend to listen to everything else that I'm saying, and it's just something that you can kind of see their reaction, you can kind of see their emotion from me performing and doing it, and something that they like and something that they enjoy.
Okay. So this is a performance. You're a performance artist. Do you use any kind of sets? What else do you bring to your poetry? Is it a straight read, or are there other things going on? Just to give the audience the flavor of what it is to sit in the audience and watch you.
Yeah, sure. So with me, it's not reading. I think reading. When you read as an artist, as a performing artist, it kind of takes away from the performance part of it. So what I do is I memorize. I pretty much memorize everything that I do, and then from there, it's the performance piece of it. I think that not only does the words count, but the performance is just as important, if not more important, because you can be in front of a group of students and standing completely still and just blurting out words and not have any passion behind those words and not have any belief behind those words, and they would absolutely miss everything that you said. But when you can hold the audience, when you can interact with the audience, when you can point to, one of the students in the audience when you're saying a line, when you can point to one of the teachers in an audience when you're saying the line, that brings them in and that sucks them in. And when you're able to suck them in with your performance, with your emotion, tone, pitch, pauses, different things like that, there's different avenues that you have to take when you're trying to get that performance out of yourself so that you can bring them in. You really have to pour everything that you have into this performance so that they can see, okay, he didn't just write this, he lived this, he believes this, he understands this. Okay, I need to believe this. I need to hear this. I need to understand this. There's something that I need to grab from this. He's not just up here speaking because, maybe he makes a good living out of it, or maybe this is, just because. He's up here speaking because there's passion and there's heartache and there's belief. There's everything wrapped up into this one performance.
That sounds really fascinating, and I can really see that. Do you allow any type of interaction with your audience? Is there any interactive part? Yes.
So the one poem that I wrote as of recently is called, I rewrote it. It's called Flyboy, and there's a piece in it in the beginning where I interact with the audience because it was something that I wanted to bring them into it immediately. And so in the first couple of lines, it says, when I say this young king is so fly, I need you all to say how fly is he? And then when I say this young queen is so fly, I need you to say how fly is she? And so I say, this young king is so fly, and then they say how fly is he? And I say, he's going to be president one day. This young queen is so fly. And they respond, how fly is she? And I say, man, I looked her up in the dictionary and saw her picture next to the word slay. This young king is so fly. How fly is he? Man, I wish I was you. This young queen is so fly. How fly is she? And one day my daughter going to look up to you. So when you wake up in the morning to get fly, don't forget to grab your wings after you grab your clothes, because whether you fly or not is also determined by your mental altitude and not just the outfit you chose. And so immediately right there, they're like, wow, what just happened?
Yes. I can do that.
Yes. Absolutely.
You mentioned something, we had a little conversation, and you mentioned something about the way that you're teaching your daughter. Can you share that with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my daughter, I tell a lot of people all the time, I'm like, man, and in some ways I feel sorry for my daughter because she's gonna have it really, really tough as a kid. But it's something that I know that she has to learn. So what I do for my daughter is I have her read positive affirmations in the morning, and I believe that positive affirmations are very, very crucial and vital to the development of a young person, because we live in a cruel world, and there are going to be many things said about young people that they don't understand that could really hinder their growth. Hinder their growth and their personality and the way that they look at themselves and the way that they feel about themselves. And that's one thing that I don't want my daughter to do. So I don't want someone to be able to come into her mind and tell her something that and make her believe it. And so what I have her do is I have her do positive affirmation, because I believe the mind is a prisoner of repetition. Whatever you repeat in the mind over and over and over again is what you will produce. It's just like if you plant a watermelon seed, chances are you're going to grow a watermelon and not an orange, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have her plant these seeds in her mind. So I have her say her positive affirmation every morning is, I'm brave, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm strong. I will have faith in myself. I will focus on my goals and dreams. I will finish everything I start. If I fall, I will get back up. If I bend, I won't break. And I have her scream, I love me. And I have her do this while looking in the mirror, too, because it's very important for her to see the words coming out of her mouth and look at herself in the eyes so that she can believe it. Because I don't want her to think that she's doing it for me, because it's not enough that I believe it. I already believe these things about you. What about you? What do you believe? Because when you're at school, Daddy's not going to be there all the time. The parent-teacher conferences and then the occasional sitting on the class if the school allows it. But Daddy's not going to be there. And if someone says something mean about you, are you going to be, go into this state of depression? Are you going to be sad? Are you going to let it ruin your whole day? Or are you going to be so confident in yourself because you're doing these positive affirmations in the morning that you can say, okay, no, I love myself. No, no matter what you said, no, I know I'm smart. I know I'm brave. I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm strong. I know all of these things about myself already, so you can't come into my mind and tell me something that I know I'm not already, because I've already convinced myself that I'm all of these great, amazing things. I think a lot, it relates, if you think about it, a lot of times, if you look at some of the kids who are in poverty, a lot of those kids stay in poverty because that's the only life that they know. They don't know any other life, and they don't see anything different. So me growing up in lower middle class, I grew up in it, but I was also able to see different lives and different aspects of life, and I said to myself, that's what I want. And so, but a lot of with the kids, they're not seeing anything. They wake up and they see poverty. They go to school and they see poverty. They go back home and they see poverty. They go to sleep and they're in poverty, and it's just a never-ending cycle of poverty. And then when they see the one in a million, something different, they don't know how to respond to it. So they just say, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. So it's something that they don't recognize,
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to train her early to recognize difference in herself.
Mm-hmm. And that's so important.
I think that's really amazing and so true. It's true for young people, children, young people, adults. I don't care how old you are. That ability to, I refer to it as mirror work, to get up in the morning and to look yourself in the eye and tell yourself really good things about yourself. Even if at first you don't believe it. This is true for adults.
Absolutely.
And a lot of young people. That's a valuable technique for changing a person's mindset. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, and that's right on target right now with school starting, and a lot of times bullying occurs and so many other things, and being able to instill those type of practices in a child is even more crucial than ever.
Absolutely, I completely agree, and they have to be able to believe something different in themselves than what society has told them or what society is going to tell them. When we can affect the minds of the young people when they're young, then we can begin to produce effective adults who are mentally strong, who can stand up for themselves and who believe in themselves and who can produce something different than just sitting behind a desk and pushing buttons and pushing papers. There's room for so much creativity in this world, but Les Brown, he said, the wealthiest place on this earth is the graveyard, because so many people die with their goals and their dreams because they were too afraid to accomplish them, or because someone told them that it couldn't be done. Dogma, living with the results of other people's thinking. I never want to live with the results of other people's thinking anymore in my life. I've done it for many, many years, and I've learned not to do it. Ever since I turned 25 4 years ago, and it's proven that, I can get results out of my life if I just believe and I work hard enough.
And that is so an amazing statement.
That is. And
that's an amazing statement. But so many people do not know who they are. They abandon who they are. And, they go to their grave.
And a lot of times it's, and what's interesting about that is it's not even them that's telling themselves that. It's someone else that has told them that, and then they're repeating that person's voice in their head over and over and over. In the back of their mind, it's someone else's voice saying, you can't do it. Don't even try it. Why would you do that?
I know Ida wants to get in on this, so I'm going to hold back.
Yes, I am like, the words that you're speaking have already penetrated me, because what you're saying is so true. And I see so many people, older people, that have so many regrets because they didn't do what they were born to do, because somebody told them they couldn't, or they didn't have this, or, so it is so true. And you putting this in your child at an early age that's just so crucial. And I hope that the audience is really listening to this, especially with the onset of school starting. Start your child out in the morning with empowerment every morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And too, along that line, excuse me for just a moment, if you're going to teach your child that, we're talking to our listening audience, make sure you do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And make sure your child
that was my point.
Sees you and hears you and sees you making it work. Even if they've seen you at a point where you were doing nothing right. This school year, start out right. Learn about affirmations, create your affirmations, do them in front of your child, your children, and make them do it too, and do it in front of a mirror, as Jeff suggested.
Right. And it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel different. You're not going to understand it, but it's something that is going to, bring out something in you that you never thought. And so it's a really, really good feeling. Like you said, you may not even see the results right away, but you will begin to feel better about yourself when certain situations arise in your life.
And I can recall a time in my life when I was at a low point, and I did exactly that. Every morning I looked in the mirror and said, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, all of these different things. And you're absolutely right. At first you don't see anything happening, but then as time goes on, you begin to get your strength back.
Right. The mind is a prison of repetition for good and bad. And when you force-feed it good will produce.
Absolutely. Now, Jeff, I have a question. I want to know how you got started with this. I always like to hear beginnings.
Yeah, so I started, I graduated Waynesburg University in 2012 with my psychology degree, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to use my psychology degree. I knew I wasn't a therapist, the type of person that likes to sit down, in an office, behind a chair, I knew I wasn't that person. And so I ended up getting into the insurance business, and I started listening to motivational speakers. And I said to myself, man, I can do that. I can do that. I love talking. I've got the gift of gab. I've got it from my dad. I really started to realize where I got this gift to speak so well from. My voice is from what other people are saying. I have a very strong and powerful voice. I have a speaker's voice, I guess is what they call it. It's funny because I can't stand the sound of my voice, but I started to listen to it, and I said I can do this, and so I realized that I had a story I was a two-sport athlete in college, and I worked 3 jobs at the same time to put myself through school. And my senior year, I became a father. So my senior year, I was working 3 jobs, two-sport athlete, and a full-time dad, and a full-time student. A lot, for one person to manage in a 9-month, time frame, but I was able to do it. And so it became a really good story. It became a really good message, and I started to put substance behind it. And then I asked myself, okay, how can I connect this to the young people, because those are the ones that I want to reach. And I said poetry is the way to connect with them, because they hear and they understand that. And so I was able to, use poetry as kind of my weapon of choice, to cut through some of the things that these young people were dealing with, to really breathe life into them. That's the hashtag or the vision. I guess the mission statement of Young Lungs Motivation is to breathe life into the goals and dreams of our youth. I really thought and feel as though the youth, their goals and dreams are dying. Like I said, the wealthiest place on the earth being the graveyard. I really felt like they were dying. And so, okay, when someone is dying, what do? You have to breathe life into them. You got to give them CPR. And so I created CPR, core, starting with who you are on the inside. I believe you have to change who you are internally before you decide to change anything externally, because you'll bring the same you to a new situation, and then you'll produce the same result, and you'll be stuck wondering why. And then from there, the P would stand for perseverance, being willing to deal with more failure than a normal person would be willing to deal with. You have to be ready for those life tests. I tell people all the time, when you're trying to make significant change in your life, that life is going to test you. It may be a small, minute test, or it may be something on a macro level to where, it's very visible. But you have to be ready for those life tests. And if you're not ready for those life tests, then you will find yourself, again, backsliding and getting back into the same thing. So you have to be able to persevere, and then from there, your life will be restored. So core, perseverance, restoration. And that's how I started. And then, the breathing life into the goals and dreams of our youth, I give them CPR every day. I give myself CPR every day. And it really became something that people started to gravitate towards. And a lot of the things that I just started coming up with, they started making sense. And that's how I knew, okay, this is what I was supposed to be doing.
Oh, absolutely. And you're definitely good, because I've seen Jeff in person, and he captivates the whole room.
Thank you.
He really does. You definitely will stop in your tracks. And what I like is the words penetrate, and they make you think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
So how do our audience connect with you?
Yes. So the easiest way to connect with me is you can find me on Facebook or on Instagram. If you search Young Lungs Motivation, please search that. You can follow me. I encourage you to follow me. You know what? I tell people, don't follow me. Follow the movement. This is a movement that I'm creating. This is a movement that I am producing. I plan on doing something presidential, is what I call it. Something on a level that has been seen only few times. Certainly reach out. If you have any questions, if you have any young individuals that need to get mentored, I am available, for mentorship. If you need, in any type of performances or anything like that, for any bookings, go to younglungsmotivation.com, send me an email, or again on any of the social media sites, Young Lungs with an S Motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what venues do you typically do?
So I typically at Busboys and Poets is where I'm at Monday through Friday. I also do several church events. I'm also right now getting ready for a 2018-2019 speaking tour around the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. I am also going to be at several different universities from here to Western Pennsylvania. Several different places. The easiest way to kind of keep up with me is on my Instagram and my Facebook page, Young Lungs Motivation. That's the easiest way to keep up with me.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. This is just it's that you meet people, but you don't always meet people that when you talk to them immediately you can feel their passion in what they do as soon as they open their mouth. you can
I
be
agree with you, and thank you for that.
Yes, and I am just happy that, because we need as many soldiers. I was just talking to another person the other day that's also doing humanitarian type work, and we need as many soldiers as possible because our young people are in trouble, and we need to definitely support them with any platform that we have.
Absolutely.
Jeff, I have one question for you, and I know we're probably running out of time, but I know you've spoken about everything that started you on this road that you're on now, how it started when you were in college and all of a sudden you became a father and then you began to move forward. But as a child, did you ever recognize that you had the ability to write or to speak? And if so, what age were you when you had that first recognition that there was something creative in you that you wanted to express? And what was it?
So when I was younger, I had no idea that I had this talent. I was always good at writing papers, but I didn't enjoy English class. Only part of English class I enjoyed was writing papers, not the reading part. And I didn't find out that I had this gift until I turned 25 years old. And I'm thankful that I didn't. It took me that long to find out that I had this gift because I believe that timing is everything. And I felt like if I would have been presented this gift when I was younger, I wouldn't have used it the right way, and it would not be what it is today. And so I'm very thankful that God or the universe, whatever your spiritual belief is, waited for me to become mentally ready to show me my gift and my purpose, and and then from there I was able to live and I was able to walk in it. I think I learned a lot about myself when so Oprah has this saying, you can learn a lot about yourself in places where you don't want to be. And so I was working at a restaurant for 3 years, and I realized, okay, this isn't what I want to do. I was working in the insurance business. I was making really good money, but then I realized, okay, this isn't what I wanted to do. And so I found out what I didn't want to do, and it led me to what I want to do. So if there's 10 doors, I opened up 8 doors and said, okay, these 8 things aren't what I want to do. Okay, maybe number 9 is, and number 9, okay, this is what I want to do. And now I don't even have to open up door 10. Or what will happen is as I open up door number 9, door number 10 will present itself as a branch of door number 9 where I can be successful in that too.
Okay. Jeff, you said so many wonderful things, and I know we've been focusing on young people, but what you said right now is just very powerful. Can you package that just a little bit and turn it towards older ones? We were talking
absolutely
throughout this about how you get to the end of your life and all of a sudden it's like, wow, what happened to me? Can you repackage that for the older ones, the mature ones?
Yeah, certainly. So with older individuals, what I tell them is a lot of them, So I met a lady, and at 40 years old, she had felt like she lost herself, and me being 28, I'm like, wow, at 40 years old, I hope I never lose myself. But at 40 years old, it's not about losing yourself. It's about finding a new you, because you evolve. You may have been this person that you were for the past 30, 35, 40 years, and that's okay. As long as you've gotten everything and you've produced everything that you can out of that life, now it's time to move on to a new life. And then what happens is when you move on to that new life, you're going to realize that there's fewer mistakes that you're going to make, because it may be something totally different that you're doing, but the direction is still the same. The discipline remains the same. The fundamentals of whatever it is that you're trying to do or that you're trying to switch to, it remains the same. It's just the mission is different. Nothing else changes. How hard you have to work in it, it's still the same. How much time you have to put in it, it's still the same. The thought process might be different because you might end up, finding out what your gift is. So you do this thing very natural, and there's less work ethic, I wouldn't say it that way, but for lack of a better term, there's less work ethic that you have to put into it, or less trying that you have to put into it. It's just something that comes natural, and so you're going to feel it. So a lot of things stay the same. As an older person, you can always find yourself, always be searching for yourself, always be loving yourself, always be finding out, okay, how can I be the best version of me, and then how can I magnify that? to a level that pleases me, that makes me happy. I think that's what a lot of people will begin to realize as they get older. It's not about making everybody else happy. It's just about making me happy.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I know there are people in our listening audience who are going, that's me. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Very welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness, this is awesome.
I could talk to you all night.
I feel like we've just gotten the top of it.
Yes, I'm feeling so empowered and smiling and feeling really good inside with this conversation. This has been awesome. We focus on the young people, some very important things that they need to begin to implement in their lives so that they can make changes and be the best version of themselves at an early age and be prepared for the world around us. Because it's rough out there. I mean, it can be rough for adults. And as a child, you don't understand the world because you haven't been in it long enough. But getting up in the morning and setting the pace of your day plays a huge part on how you're going to respond to the rest of the day. Because I do it faithfully every morning. Every morning.
Absolutely.
And it's like now, I don't even think about it. I just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It certainly becomes a habit. Excuse me. It becomes a habit, something that you practice every single day, and it really begins to change and impact your life in small little ways. But they say you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You got to bite it off in small chunks. So approach your day the same way. Your days the same way.
Absolutely. So one more time, Jeff. How do people connect?
Yes, so please reach out to me on any social media platform, Young Lungs Motivation. Send me a comment, send me a message, younglungsmotivation.com, send me an email. I'm waiting for your response. I want to hear from you. I want to do, help you and help your community, help the community in any way, shape, or form possible. If I'm available, I will certainly be there.
Thank you. I know that you have really made our audience feel good. If they didn't feel good when they started listening in, they feel really good now. So thank you for that.
Yes,
very welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff. I really, truly appreciate you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate you ladies having me on.
This show is brought to you by the amazing women of a Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, where we are never in competition, but always in collaboration, and our valued sponsors. Learn more about our sponsors and their services and membership in a Sister Circle, ASCEN LLC, at www.assistercircle.org. To learn about becoming a sponsor for Just Minding My Business Radio and how our marketing package benefits your company, please visit our website at www.assistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks. Contact slvoiceworks8201 at yahoo.com or call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.